Okay, hello, everybody. It's that time again. Come on, come on, Chico. Who's that there? Is that Chico? Is that Chico? Huh? You saying hi to everybody? What you doing? Goopy. Goopy? Huh? Huh? What do you say to everybody, Chico? Happy Friday? You say happy Friday? Huh? Everyone have a good weekend? JJ, you're first tonight. You get a purple star. I'm beating up on Chico. Kay's kind of ill. She's listening. She got some new medicine, and hopefully she might be able to come in for a short while. Thanks, JJ. Who's that? Who's that famous dog? Huh? Yeah, she got some new medicine. Hopefully that's gonna help her. You say hi to Timo? Tim? Huh? What? What? I'm beating you up? Huh? I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. No, you don't. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, get back up there. No, no. You gotta earn your paycheck. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that right there? Huh? Say hi to everybody. You gonna say hi to everybody? Huh? Ariella? Yella? All the animals out there? Huh? toothpick, baby. You're a monster. You're a monster. Okay? All right. And yeah, so Kay's trying to get better. She'll be listening. Yeah, he's always happy. So there's a new video that just came out. Trump made an announcement, you guys. We'll play that first one there. It just came out. And then we'll get to the two videos. We'll go from there. We got quiet night. None of my games are on tonight except tomorrow. I got big games. Carol. Lucy. Must got busy today.
Are asking a lot of.
Okay. Everybody will probably be coming in late while we're starting up. Friday, everyone's eating dinner probably right now. So I gotta log into Telegram. I don't know why I gotta keep logging in. Okay. So this is just coming out, this video here.
And your fan cash. New customer.
Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations.
What does that
to
mean,
protect
guys?
our country
What do you say?
From unfair trading practices of other countries and companies. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And I say quite simply, which I've said for a long time, make America great again. And interestingly, we've already made it great, so I don't have to use that, but I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to be with us. If you have a few questions, you can let us know. But just to end, so
Okay.
we're
Anybody
going
else
forward.
in
We
chat know
will
what that meant?
be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be doubt, because there was always doubt. I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and they're sleazebags, major sleazebags, but I know them, and they're foreign country centric. They were sending things into our country, and the people representing them knew full well, but they were sending things into our country, and they were beneficial to other countries, but very, very bad for us. And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have a totally firm decision now. And I don't think the court meant it, because the court doesn't show great
2 minutes.
spirit toward our country, in my opinion. A lot of bad decisions, but there are usually ways around it. This is something we could have done, as Justice Kavanaugh said, we could have done this originally, but we're doing it now. And the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very curious. You've
I didn't
spoken
call you
about.
in the red.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas and Alito, as you know, are the most conservative constitutional justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar ideologies? And what type of vetting process will they go through to ensure they uphold?
I don't know, but they're great justices. That's all I could say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people. They're great. And Justice Alito, too, to add to the group. These are great men. With a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Congress to take additional action on tariffs now?
No, I don't need to. It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers, and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday, I was at a steel plant, as you know, and went to great place, great plant, great, wonderful people. And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room. Of course, I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We're in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man, but a very powerful, strong man. He's been in the steel business for many years. His father started it. And he said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week. And then you came in and imposed tariffs. And all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week. And we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week. He said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly. And I said, no, thank you.
Where's your compost?
Hey. So that's the first big news there. It just came out, and there's Lucy finally. That just came out with the results on the Supreme Court this afternoon, Lucy. I'm going to read you something about Tina Peters. I don't know why this is going on still. Why is this happening? I guess they denied her again. Hopefully I can get a video. I'll try to find a video. Well, the next two will be Q. We did the two earlier this afternoon, Lucy, my favorite lady.
Trump for MAGA and the America First agenda. The Supreme Court did what I thought was unthinkable. I never thought that it might come down to this, but they have struck down Trump's ability to use the International Emergency Powers Act to create tariffs and to inflict tariffs on other countries. Trump has said for many, many years that other countries have taken advantage of the United States and that he would like to use tariffs like our founding fathers did to fund our country as opposed to using income tax. And so Trump imposed these tariffs to try to get other countries to the bargaining table, to get these countries to show up and say, okay, all right, fair enough. We're not going to continue to overcharge you. We're not going to continue to take more from your country than we give back. We're going to close some of these trade deficits. These countries have been robbing us blind, and Trump rightfully pointed those things out. The only weapon that he truly had to fight it was to say, okay, we're going to put tariffs even larger on the tariffs that you're putting on our goods. And if you guys want to have a conversation, want to come to the table to negotiate, I'm here. But until you guys show up to negotiate, we're going to charge you XYZ, 25, 30%, whatever it came out to be. So now China has been given the green light to continue taxing us, and we're unable to do anything about it. Now, of course, the Supreme Court says, well, go through Congress. We've seen how well that works. So now we're supposed to go to Congress and have Congress back President Trump to put these tariffs in place right before a midterm election. Now, fortunately, we had 3 justices, the ones we would expect, Justice Kavanaugh. We also had Justice Alito and Clarence Thomas fight on our side and said the president should definitely have this tool in their back pocket in order to be able to enforce fair trade and to enforce that he has the ability to force countries to come to the table and negotiate. The president of the country needs to be able to negotiate on our behalf. We have to stop putting other countries first and put America first. These justices saw this, but the others, Comey Barrett, Justice Roberts, Gorsuch, they sided along with the liberal justices, and they have taken this tool. And now we're in a position where the United States is going to have to pay all of this money back. That is going to be an absolute mess. Now, I know many of you guys will say that I am being negative, not being negative. What am I supposed to do? All I can do is report to you what is going on in our country as of right now. We are now in a position where the over $200 billion that has been collected by the Trump administration on behalf of the American people is going to be forced to be paid back because of this decision. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with the Supreme Court? Do you disagree with the Supreme Court? Were you expecting this? It hit me out of left field. I won't lie. I never thought that those justices would jump over on the liberal side. But let's talk about it. Comment below.
Okay, that's the first one.
Your money. That's why.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Out of the Darkness. I am Q. So I'm getting my hee-haws in over here. And I know some of you guys are going to say, Q, you shouldn't be laughing at the poor people over in New York. They're getting destroyed right now. The communist is coming. And I get it. But you know what? I just get a kick out of it. I want all of these people who voted for this communist Zoran Mamdani to get exactly what they voted for. They are learning. They are going to get a belly full of it. And I believe that it's going to take this to get them to actually wake up, pay attention, and realize that nothing comes for free. And at the end of the day, the only people that benefit from socialism or benefit from communism are the elites themselves. So I was getting into this story. Zoran Mamdani is now looking at raising property taxes on people by 9.5% to fund his DEI and special interest giveaway sprees. Now tell me this, do only rich people own houses in the state of New York City or the city of New York? Do only wealthy people making over $1 million own homes? No, a lot of middle-class people own homes. In fact, I would say that for most middle-class people, the bulk of their net worth and their wealth is tied up into their home. You're going to raise their property taxes by almost 10%. Oh yeah, and on top of that, he's then talking about cutting the police force on top of it, defunding the police by 5,000 officers in a state where you clearly need, or city, you clearly need a way more. So you're going to take people's money and you're going to give them less security. How long is that going to last? And then in addition to all of that, now he's talking about funding some of his programs with the pension funds and healthcare funds of teachers and retirees. Well, you know what? When it comes to teachers, and don't get me wrong, many teachers love to vote left. You know what? If they want to give more money for their socialist agendas, by all means, do it. In fact, I think that they should only take the money from the people who voted for Zoran. I think that they should donate their money. They wanted this agenda. Let them have it. Let them have it. Let them have the whole utopia, because we told them, and they still wanted to do it. But at the end of the day, guys, so many of you guys have said, Q, we need good news. You're being so negative. I'm not being negative. At the end of the day, guys, the enemy doesn't fight like this unless we are winning. The enemy doesn't scratch and pull and fight dirty if they're winning. If they are winning the war, if they are fighting and winning, then they are not going to come out of the woodwork and scream and yell and give us everything they got. They understand that they're losing a war. They understand that the people are taking control. I only talk about the stories that you guys don't necessarily want to hear and no one else is talking about, because it becomes important for us to shake people from this place of complacency. If I come out here every single day and say we're winning, then half of the electorate will stay home when it comes time for elections. They need to know that we are in the middle of a real battle. We have not won anything yet. We're in the process of winning, but if people don't do their part, we can still lose this thing. So therefore, I'm not going to stop reporting on the positive and the potential negatives, because we cannot let off the gas. We must continue to go. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. But
okay, we got 2 Qs in. The next one is our First Lady just came out with the video. About 5 minutes ago.
Thank you for inviting me to join you at the Smithsonian today. The Smithsonian Museum is an important cultural jewel. It is my great honor to be surrounded by so many special people to celebrate this momentous occasion. Human nature resides in the discipline of detail. Everything is in the detail. This is not a dress. This is more than 50 years of education, experience, and wisdom realized with each thread, each stitch, each sharp edge. the meticulously formed black shape Z on the front bodies commons decades of my early memories, life experiences, and influences. And all of these stories are tucked deep within its crisp, strong seams forever. Mr. Hervé Pierre's sophisticated knowledge of couture design has solidified his position as a fearlessly independent visionary. Thank you, Hervé. Harry Winston, one of America's most consequential jewelers, designed the diamond brooch in 1955. Mr. Winston's headline-grabbing historic piece was loaned to me, especially for the inauguration.
Okay, it looks like we got a new person in chat. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name right. Oh, is that Flying Eagle too? Is this your first time in chat? All I ask is be respectful, please. Thank you. And do you mind asking what state you're from? I'm from Michigan, and we got a lot of people from Florida, Texas, Alabama. Oh, Maine. Wow. And, yep. Good to see you. Thanks for supporting the channel. We do all kinds of videos, daily news updates.
The minimal black neck piece framed the radiant floral diamond cluster, creating harmony with my overall look. The beautiful contrast between black and white sets a mood rich with emotion. American imagination appears in different creative forms across all types of canvases and often serves.
I've been doing this for almost 6 years. I do the daily news videos. Everything I cover, from breaking news, everything. So I got over 1 million views and almost 2,000 subs. So yeah, I've been on for a long time.
Serves up a clear perspective. This dress speaks with a distinct point of view, a modern silhouette, bold and dignified, and ruthlessly chic.
JJ, can you tell them that?
It is not easy feat to construct such a complex garment. Behind every true couture piece stands a superior team of pattern makers, seamstresses, and artisans who transform a creative idea into reality. My team of experts who constructed this gown have obsessed to master their discipline. I'm proud to collaborate with each of them. The human condition is captured within every stitch, the idea to endure and rise above mediocrity, to reach the highest level, America's destiny. This black and white masterpiece showcases America's pure spirit of originality, superior engineering, and boundless creativity. It's a statement as to why America's fashion industry can lead the rest of the world. Personally, I relish the entire design process from start to finish. It takes time, it's slow, but the end result is always magical. If you had a chance to see my new film, Melania, you're well aware of what it took
Post
to
time,
bring this
JJ, they
technical
said it
marvel
was
to life.
5:40. 5:40. So
We must
an
take
hour
pride
ago.
not only in the small rituals of self-care, but in the courageous act of self-expression. Our outward appearance to the world. The art of presenting oneself can be cultivated over a lifetime, yet even the young girl who takes care of herself from inside out with precision every morning leaves for school with a more confident step and a steady gaze, confident to claim her place in the world. This spark pays dividends and stays with her for a lifetime. I'm honored to have our creative vision on display here, once again, within the walls of this institution, indefinitely. Thank you.
It's not food.
Oh, sorry about that one, everybody. I don't know what she was talking about, but it was the First Lady. So, okay, what we got next here? Let's play.
What's up, guys? Benny. It's pretty obvious that Jeffrey Epstein had people killed. I mean, in the emails, he straight up says, I give you permission to kill someone who lied to me. He lied to you and he lied to me. No
Please
one
be
lies to me and gets away
respectful.
with it.
Thank you.
Says Jeffrey Epstein. I give you permission to kill him. There you go. Jeffrey Epstein regularly is talking about torture. Did you torture her? Did you? About spies losing their lives, being compromised, and dying. These are things that are readily available in even email. Here they are. This is a DOJ website. There it is. Where are you? I love the torture video. Okay. You know, the web that we weave. Very, very strange, ladies and gentlemen. The people who are associated with Jeffrey Epstein are all winding up. The main whistleblower of Jeffrey Epstein, someone named Virginia Roberts, who would be a bombshell interview right now, given the fact that Prince Andrew is arrested. She's dead. You know, she said, I'm not suicidal. She winds up getting hit by a bus in the middle of the Australian outback. Then from the hospital bed, she records a video on her phone saying, they're going to kill me. I'm going to die. And then a couple days later, she winds up dead in a barn by suicide. Never heard anything of it. Jeffrey Epstein would regularly use his French buddy, Jean-Luc Brunel, in order to traffic women. This guy ran a fashion depot in New York that was connected with Les Wexner. Les Wexner runs Victoria's Secret. He runs Abercrombie & Finch. He's the guy who got Jeffrey Epstein started. Les Wexner is most likely the reason that Jeffrey Epstein exists at all. Well, anyway, the guy who ran the brand that would traffic all the models and the young girls, he wound up dead in a French jail cell. Oh, no, that's too bad. Modeling agent who was close to disgraced U.S. financier Jeffrey Epstein. Not close. This guy ran the blackmail operation with Jeffrey Epstein. That's what's also provable in the emails. Was found dead in a French jail cell. Was being held into investigation into the rape of minors and trafficking of minors, sexual exploitation. They described the abuse, blah, 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 that he will never face trial. They described his death as a double blow. Epstein himself was killed in a Manhattan jail cell. Nobody knows that, by the way. If that's true, or if Jeffrey Epstein's still alive, nobody knows. Paris police are investigating, the prosecutor's office said. The circumstances of his death were not made public. Okay. Here's how the operation worked. I want to make this really clear because it's obvious. Les Wexner has been deposed. It's like quite obvious as well, like what was going on here. Les Wexner is the original founder of the businesses that would become the operational network of Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe you've never heard of a guy named Les Wexner, but he is in charge of Bath and Body Works, Abercrombie & Fitch, Victoria's Secret, L Brands, limited company. Les Wexner also has connections to Mossad, LOL, because of course, it's not an intel operation. He's a dirty, dirty man with an evil background in murder and in, well, predator scandals. Lex Wexner, somebody, is clearly a gifted businessman, and he was able to take small amounts of money and turn it into a massive fashion empire. And he definitely had that fashion empire. He brought Jeffrey Epstein into that fashion empire, and that's where Jeffrey Epstein began abusing women behind the scenes at Les Wexner's fashion shows. And this is like the start. Les Wexner also put Jeffrey Epstein in as the financial manager of all of these brands for 20 straight years. He was the primary client of Jeffrey Epstein, who claimed to only work with clients of net worth of $1 billion or greater. Wexner purchased the New York property that Jeffrey Epstein, of course, famous giant mansion in New York. He was a trustee on the Wexner Foundation, and so on. In the 1990s, Les Wexner and Jeffrey Epstein were involved in relocating Southern Air Transport, a CIA front organization with ties to Iran-Contra affairs and CIA drug smuggling from Miami to Columbus, Ohio. Southern Air transported goods related to Wexner's businesses, but a 1986 customs agent found hidden shipments of cocaine on the plane. The airline was shut down. In 1998, Wexner received federal aid for the relocation of the airline. So it was weeks before the CIA Inspector General released the official findings. Oh no! So they were trafficking for the CIA. This is all like classic stuff, right? Wexner was accused of failing to take action when complaints were raised about Epstein, who was abusing women effectively at his fashion shows. He also is accused of murder because his lawyer at his law firm, Arthur L. Shapiro, sorry is his name, was straight up killed in a mafia-style murder right before he was set to testify about how Les Wexner was cooking the books. It's amazing. So these are the people that run your country. These are the people that created Jeffrey Epstein. Les Wexner is a very evil person. He's somebody who is co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein. He's listed right here as a co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein. He gave Jeffrey Epstein billions of dollars. He gave Jeffrey Epstein access to all these models. There are so many different trails of death. It's very much like the Clinton body count, so many trails of death, murder, and destruction from these guys. They're truly evil. If one person belongs in prison over their ties to Jeffrey Epstein, chiefly, it should probably be the guy that got him started. It should be Les Wexner. Anyway, Les Wexner was dragged in to be questioned and deposed before the U.S. House, and something remarkable happened. This billionaire was told that he's going to die during the testimony. Oh, yeah. Les Wexner's deposition, billionaire friend of Jeffrey Epstein, gets very blunt warning from his lawyer when he's grilled on the relationship with the pedophile. Let's go ahead and listen here.
It was just regularly done.
88-year-old Les Wexner.
Answer the question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question. Okay. It was just regularly done.
So the lawyer, you can hear there, it's a little hard to hear, but you can hear it sort of clear as day when you up the audio. Listen to this. I'm going to kill you. You answer another question.
Okay.
Which more than 5 words. Okay.
Answer the question. Okay. It was just regularly done.
It says, I'm going to kill you. You know, this from a world of like, where apparently killing people murdering people that knew too much or said too much is pretty obvious, pretty regular. Go read about this whole Shapiro murder investigation. Guy was literally about to test the day before his testimony to a grand jury. He was assassinated. Witnesses describe it as a mafia hit because of the potential nexus between Shapiro, the mafia, and Wexner as part of a police investigation. Wexner were looked into for any connections to the mob. Yeah. And then here he is being told that he's going to be effing killed. Incredible. I've had a lot of lawyers, tons of them, basically have an army of them. Not one has ever uttered the phrase, I'm going to effing kill you for any reason. If you have a lawyer that said that, they're not really their lawyer. It's more like somebody who's trying to protect an operation. And that is exactly what this seems like. Les Wexner is the retail billionaire behind Bath & Body Works. He's net worth around $8 billion. In the late 1980s, a year after meeting Jeffrey Epstein, Wexner gave Epstein power of attorney over everything. Highly unusual because Epstein was not a banker, not a CPA, didn't come from a major Wall Street firm. Before that, he had been a math teacher at a private school, never completed a college degree. Now his attorney is talking about killing him. This was obviously CIA. It's just obvious. It's just obviously what happened here was CIA places their guy. This, I'm not saying that Jeffrey Epstein was like a CIA agent. He was clearly operating on behalf of Mossad. Les Wexner has connections to Mossad. It's amazing. Like the people who were working for Les Wexner, who were really on the up and up.
5 minutes.
They all left the company as soon
5
as
minutes.
Jeffrey Epstein took over. They realized exactly how dangerous things were getting and how bad things had gotten at the company. And they were really creeped out by Epstein. And they decided to leave. There's lots of different board members who said things were really getting sideways with Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein just ran this multi-billion-dollar empire. Les Wexner, though, clearly just a front man for this. CIA needs big, successful companies in order to get these schemes across the finish line. Les Wexner admits in his deposition that Jeffrey Epstein worked directly with the Rothschild family in France.
I think it was his experience at an industrial level, like working for a big company like Bear Stearns, and then he had done personal work for the Rothschild family in France.
Personal wealth management, essentially?
I don't know.
Sure you don't know. An explosive clip. Les Wexner revealing Jeffrey Epstein claimed that he was a financial advisor for the Rothschild family. He verified it. Specifically, I talked to the Rothschilds and mentioned that earlier. So she represented the whole family. And Wexner describes how Epstein was boasting that he advised Google's co-founders, Google's chief technologist, and Jeff Bezos. He admits he never confirmed those claims. Goodness. He helps settle, of course, a Rothschild problem with the Obama administration and the DOJ. It's a classic. I'm just going to effing kill you. Wexner tells the House Oversight Committee that when he hired Epstein in the 1980s, that Epstein had already done wealth management for the Rothschild and friends. This far predates any relationship we had previously known about. The lawyer telling him to shut up. Les Wexner, under oath, says neither the FBI or DOJ has ever sought any questions regarding Epstein, a huge black eye for those institutions. And this despite several Epstein victims publicly alleging that Wexner's involvement, and obviously documents here showing that they knew Les Wexner was a co-conspirator. There he is on the FBI's own law enforcement internal documents. The FBI has never even sought to question him. Just more evidence that this was just an intel op by our own government. Trump was always innocent. This is why the treatment of Epstein files broke my heart. He was misled, but of course, that's on him. Jasmine Crockett sounding so disappointed when Les Wexner continually said that he had never met Trump, that Trump was never in any of the files, that Trump never did anything with Epstein. Wexner hates Trump, but he straight up says, no, I know nothing about Donald Trump. They're more interested in Trump than Wexner. Imagine that. Epstein stole hundreds of millions from me. Also, Wexner, I never went to the police and I never got questioned by the FBI. Right. They don't care about their victims. They just want dirt on the president. And it's the Rothschild family all over again. In an email released by WikiLeaks, Hillary says that there's a penance that she owes Liz Crokin, connecting all of this back to the Rothschild families and the higher-ups, royal family, and so on. How high does it go? Who has the ability to just give you permission to kill people?
Yes,
I will effing kill you, says the lawyer.
5-minute one to become
live
next.
in front of Congress. In front of Congress. They're like, well, I mean, it's almost like mocking Congress, like, you can't do anything. And isn't that what this all points to? This all points to simply a government above the government, a group of the elites that are above us, that are above society and above rules and order and laws, and they do as they please, and they kill and they murder, they rape and they pillage, and nobody holds them into account. It has to happen. I'm going to spend my life trying to hold these people into account. It's the most important thing that you can.
Okay, that was Benny's video. I got a 5-minute Canada video. And you still here?
Ranks fourth in the world for oil production. In 2024, it pumped about 5 million barrels a day, behind only Saudi Arabia, Russia, and the United States. Sounds impressive, but there's one huge catch. To understand it, we need to move to Canada's east coast. This is a live online map of marine traffic, and these are the oil tankers sailing into Canada and out of the country. Notice something odd? Yep. Despite having plenty of its own oil, Canada imports hundreds of thousands of barrels of crude per day. And it's coming from the other side of the planet, from places like Saudi Arabia and Nigeria, shipped all the way to Canada. And it can cost around 3 times more than Canadian oil. But that's not even the most interesting part. Canada also sends about 80% of the oil it produces straight to the U.S. If you're confused about what's going on, trust me, so am I. So let's find out why Canada doesn't use the millions of barrels it produces itself and why it needs oil from Africa in the first place. Let's look at where Canada actually produces this huge amount of oil. Production isn't spread evenly across the country. More than 80% of Canada's black gold, or about 4.3 million barrels per day, comes from one specific place. Here it is, Alberta, a province in Western Canada. And this is where the problem begins, because the province itself simply can't consume that much oil. Only about 5 million people live in Alberta out of 40 plus million across all of Canada.
Have you seen
So
this yet?
local energy demand is obviously quite low. Normal household and industrial use can't possibly eat up the millions of barrels produced every single day. So where are Canada's main consumers of oil? Over here in the east, Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick provinces, home to major cities like Toronto and Montreal. These are heavily populated, highly industrialized regions where much of the country's population and manufacturing are concentrated. People use energy every day, and businesses run around the clock, burning enormous amounts of fuel. And here's the most interesting part. All of that is roughly 1,550 miles away from Alberta. A massive distance. But wait, oil's moved through pipelines, right? So how's Canada doing on that front? On paper, it looks fine. The key artery, Enbridge Main Line, does connect Alberta to central and eastern Canada, routing through the United States. But the issue is that this system isn't a brand new modern trunk line designed for today's production volumes. It's a network of pipes assembled and expanded over decades for a very different scale. As a result, the pipeline now runs close to its capacity limits and physically can't move the full 4.3 million barrels per day that Alberta produces, which raises a logical question. Why not build a new pipeline? For starters, that would cost an unreal amount, and the route wouldn't be a simple flat stretch. It'd have to cross rivers, hills, valleys. By some estimates, a new eastbound line would cost at least $25 billion. Add public opposition, spill risks. In short, that's not really an option. So let's try another route. What about rail? You can move oil by train. Unfortunately, that option scares both economists and the public. First, shipping oil by rail costs about 3 times more than moving it by pipeline. That's expensive. Second, people remember what happened in 2013. The tragedy in the small town of Lac-Mégantic in Quebec. A freight train carrying oil is left without an engineer and starts rolling downhill. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. It enters town and derails right in the center. Cars flip, tankers rupture, the oil ignites almost immediately. Flames swallow nearby blocks. Explosions rock the area, heard from miles away. That night, 47 people died. Downtown Lac-Mégantic was essentially wiped out, and Canada learned a harsh lesson. Oil trains are not only costly, they can become a disaster. So in the end, there's no truly smooth path for Alberta's oil to reach Eastern Canada, and that's why in 2023 and 2024, the country imported around 500,000 barrels per day from the US, Nigeria, and Saudi Arabia. But wait, is it really more profitable to ship oil from the other side of the planet? Well, this is where things get complicated. Buying and delivering oil from Saudi Arabia or Nigeria costs roughly $70 to $80 per barrel. Meanwhile, sending Canada's own oil by pipeline costs only $3 to $5 per barrel, and by rail, $10 to $15 per barrel. If the difference is that huge, why can't Canada, despite the problems and risks, ship Alberta oil by train anyway? Or spend big on a pipeline and move oil for pennies? Here's where the next problem comes. Canada can't really use its own black gold the way it would like to. Let me explain. In Alberta, oil is extracted from oil sands, which leads to a product often referred to as quite a complex substance. But how can oil be Here's Canada.
Well, that's all there was on that one there, and I hope that was okay. I want to do some short videos now, you guys.
Roasted. They tried to claim that Democrats have never called President Trump racist. And the guy making that claim, oh, I've got his X receipts. Spoiler alert, the truth is way more interesting than he thinks. But wait, it gets even better. Hours later, the Black community showed up to defend the president, and Grandma stepped up with a mic drop moment so powerful, your jaw's going to hit the floor and you're going to be cheering at your TV like you just scored the winning touchdown. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith is absolutely losing it over rumors that his own party might stage a walkout during Trump's State of the Union address next week. Apparently, adulting is optional if you're a politician. And across the pond, former Prince Andrew just got arrested for his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, a story Trump already blew the whistle on back in 2015.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it.
Smash that like button if you're loving some long overdue accountability, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, I've got a bonus clip for you at the end of today's video. The Chicago Bears, they're apparently scheduling a U-Haul, and the governor and mayor, they're not handling it well. All right, let's dive into our top story. In a truly shocking display of journalistic amnesia, Ed O'Keefe bravely stepped up at yesterday's press briefing ahead of President Trump's Black History Month celebration and asked this.
Where or when does the president believe he's been falsely called racist?
You're kidding, right?
No.
I will pull you plethora of examples. I'm going to get my team in that room to start going through the internet of radical Democrats throughout the years, Ed, who have accused this president falsely of being a racist.
Oh, Ed, sweet, historically challenged Ed. I did what apparently no one in that press room thought to try. I scrolled, just a little light fingertip workout. And guess what? The internet doesn't forget. It doesn't misplace receipts. It doesn't suddenly develop selective memory loss 5 minutes before a press briefing. So let's enter into evidence exhibit A. Ed O'Keefe, cross-examined by Ed O'Keefe. In 2019, Ed himself posted, quote, watch, President Trump receives backlash and support over his racist tweets. He clearly hit post in 2019 and then hit delete from memory in 2025. The only thing more stunning than the question is the fact that the evidence was sitting on his own timeline the entire time. And he's not the only evidence that proves just how dumb his question was. Here's a montage of Democrats calling Trump, drumroll please, a racist. Roll it.
This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. The President of the United States is racist.
Yeah, we did those clips, I think, the other day. Sorry about that. We'll get the California lady up next. Okay.
For Pam Bondi to act and order the arrest of the corrupt governor of California. Senators Josh Hawley and Rick Scott sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi's office, urging her to take the necessary steps regarding California and the billions of dollars in federal funds stolen by Newsom and his mafia. I am Fernanda Perez, and what is about to happen in California could be a radical change for us, because Gavin Newsom is very close to becoming the first governor of the state to be properly prosecuted and imprisoned. Attorney General Bondi still has a lot to investigate because the corruption is so rampant that they are uncovering outrageous things. I never thought the Democrats were capable of reaching this level, but they always manage to outdo themselves in theft and villainy. Even the California Attorney General appointed by Newsom could be indicted for the same crime because he helped the governor embezzle federal funds, in addition to witnessing fraud in contracts that cost California billions of dollars, and he simply did nothing. Since he would be the one leading the case against Newsom, in that situation, he himself would also be sent to jail along with the governor. The California Attorney General himself is also involved. That's when the federal DOJ would step in. So, gentlemen, don't expect anything less than a future federal prison cell waiting for these scoundrels. And if you want to see them rotting in a penitentiary as much as I do, don't forget to follow me, okay?
Okay, that's one. Oh.
Documents proving that Gavin Newsom used a Florida bank to move illicit money, sending millions to a holding company that served as a fund for Democrats to influence state elections. I am Fernanda Perez, and at this very moment, Newsom fears being arrested for using Florida's financial system to move stolen money. But the situation gets even worse because the FBI in Florida suspects that Newsom invested in properties in Miami to launder money stolen from Californians. Very mafia-like, right? Diverting tax money and then laundering it by buying real estate. The question now is, in which other states would Newsom have invested our money stolen by him to buy real estate and then sell it to increase his personal fortune? Michigan and Minnesota recently came onto the FBI's radar after unusual financial movements from California to these states controlled by Democrats. And if you want to see these criminals get what's coming to them as much as I do, don't forget to follow me, because Ron DeSantis's evidence promises to send the...
Okay, one more.
discovered that Governor Abigail Spanberger was diverting money in Virginia from federal funds approved through lobbying carried out by Nancy Pelosi, who was responsible for distributing billions to several states controlled by Democrats. Spanberger, who was elected with votes including from the LGBT community, embezzled money she had promised to those same people who are now outraged with the very governor they helped elect. The FBI and Virginia suspects that Abigail copied Gavin Newsom's move in California, using fake contracts to allocate federal funds and move the money through banks in other states. The same thing Newsom did, using a Florida bank as a springboard to steal billions from Californians. But for a former CIA covert operations agent, she's not very smart. The so-called untouchable Democrats are falling with yet another billion-dollar scandal, this time in Virginia, making the situation even more complicated for the corrupt members of this party. I'm Fernanda Perez, and I'm here waiting to see the first governor set foot in a penitentiary. And if you want to see them in jails...
Okay, we got 3 of those. Chico, that's enough. Come here. Okay. Not sure if you played this one, Carol. Flying Eagles should be coming in soon.
Begin transmission. Greetings.
Yep.
We are anonymous.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Operate this way. This is not how it's going to go down. And they continue to ignore him. It's rather remarkable. And now Brendan Carr is having to come out and say, listen, we're going to move forward on these penalties. Let me see if I can bring this up for you. I want to show you what they're suggesting is going to happen now with Brendan Carr saying he is going to actually begin those quote unquote enforcement proceedings against ABC's The View over equal time issues. The reason this is coming to a head is because, well, let's face it, the show is 99% Democrats all the time. I mean, they had Arnold Schwarzenegger on, if you can count him as a conservative once, and he tried to put them in their place, saying, hey, you know what? You come to this country, you're an immigrant. We've played this on the shorts feed a few times for you guys. You like this one. Anyway, Arnold trying to set them straight. They all had this look of, what on their faces, but that was like the only conservative they had ever put on besides MTG. I guess you're a conservative that gets on the show if you hate Donald Trump. That's when it all seems to come together for them. They'll bring you on if you hate Donald Trump, if you're a never Trumper. So MTG was sort of grandfathered in because of that. As soon as she turned, right, they brought her on to talk about how much she hated Trump. But consistently over and over and over again, they just keep bringing Democrats on. And on top of that, you get a very important race that's coming up where they're going to start beginning. They're already beginning some of the early voting there in Texas. And it's Jasmine Crockett versus this guy who looks like he's like 12. I'm sorry. He's like 12. He's like Doogie Howser or something. Okay. So James Tallarico or something. He's running against Jasmine Crockett. And so why do they keep putting both of them on? Right. They had Jasmine on and then they brought James Tallarico on. It's a little bit strange. And Brendan Carr's like, you can't do that, guys. You just can't do this. And he keeps telling them, and I'm going to keep telling you, that there's a different standard for broadcast. And you are governed by the FCC. So if you were cable, you could bring on all your favorite Democrats all day long, every single day of the week. It would not be an issue. But when you try to do that on network television, it is an issue. And so, some of these late night shows are trying to figure that one out. They're learning the hard way. Stephen Colbert, for example, who's into it with CBS. CBS is trying to censor me. And, this one, Brendan Carr, he's trying to censor me. No, Brendan actually came out and said, I didn't censor you, Stephen. And CBS said, we didn't either. This is just, you're having to deal with reality when we present you with the legal challenges. Remember, he was slamming the Trump administration, the FCC. He was slamming CBS, his employer. CBS came out and said, not us. We're just telling you what the legal risks are, because there are legal risks, because there are laws involved in this. So what does it mean for penalty? This CNN reporter doesn't think it'll mean much. I think he's wrong on this, and we'll talk about it. But let's go to the View on CNN over these FCC concerns, whether it be with Colbert or, of course, The View.
I was told by a source familiar with the matter tonight that yes, ABC has been contacted by the FCC, that yes, there is an active investigation into The View. Now, I feel kind of funny saying those words, like an investigation into The View, right? It seems kind of ludicrous. But it is true, the FCC sent some letters, ABC has responded. There is this back and forth, and I'm told that is what caused concern among CBS lawyers. That is what caused this chill at CBS. But the FCC has very little actual enforcement power. Yeah, they could make ABC pay a fine, but they're not going to revoke a station license. So ultimately, the FCC didn't do this. The FCC created a chill, but the CBS lawyers did this. And there is a term for what's happening at CBS. It's called obeying in advance.
Obeying in advance. Why not just obeying the law? Okay, Like, why are we like having a big thing about this? For whatever reason, ever since Donald Trump first came to office, the networks have kind of gone over the deep end in terms of their own bias. And for whatever reason, nobody chose to enforce FCC rules, which have always been on the books. And so in this particular case, what could it mean? Well, the affiliation thing is a big deal. The affiliation thing is a big deal because all of these ABC affiliates are licensed by the FCC. So you have all these like local stations, like 250 of them all around the country. ABC actually owns only about 7 or so. They have what are called O&Os, owned and operated stations. The rest are granted broadcast license from the FCC. And so the FCC has the ability to pull those if they think that they're running programming that's really not following the law, the equal time, equal opportunity time rules, where if you're going to have one Democrat on, then you got to have one Republican on. It's not that hard. I mean, you could follow the rules, right? And then it wouldn't be a big deal. But Colbert decided to try and pull an ABC thing. And yes, his network's lawyers said, hey, you might not want to do this unless you're willing to deal with any penalties that might ensue. So what could be those penalties? Brendan Carr very, very easily could threaten those stations with losing their licenses. And if they lose their licenses because they keep showing shows like The View over and over and over again, they're not going to be too happy. So they're going to now in turn put pressure on ABC News, the network, to say, hey, you got to serve up some better programming. Trust me, they'd all love to get rid of The View. It doesn't rate very well. They'd love to take that time back, and then they could use it for local programming. They could do their own local View, and they'd make more money, and they'd all be happy. And so this may be giving them a window of opportunity to do that. And this is the network's biggest fear. But you know what? It's all self-induced because they're the ones, do not forget, that decided to put James Tallarico, the 12-year-old, who's running for Senate in Texas, the Democrat, against Jasmine Crockett. Remember, I just want to advise you, this was like days after Jasmine had been on bashing Trump, bashing ICE. You know the drill. And then this guy comes on saying this. Watch.
Other people enjoy the celebration. I enjoy the preparation.
As we mentioned, you're running in the Democratic primary against U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett. And there's been a lot of discourse around her electability. And some would say that is code for they don't think a Black woman can win statewide. Should she win this primary against you, do you think she can win a statewide race?
Absolutely. You know, Congresswoman Crockett is my friend. Yeah. I have deep love and respect for her. She is a leader in our state. And I've said before that if she wins this nomination, I will be behind her 1,000%. Yeah. And I will do everything I possibly can to get her over the finish line. We're on the same team, Jasmine and I. Yeah. We're trying to change the politics of our state and take back this country. And we're both putting forward our experiences and our skill sets in a healthy competition. Yeah. And what I think I bring to this primary is something unique.
But I love her. 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 Right. So this is actually just helping Jasmine. He goes on and on to talk about himself, whatever. I don't think he's going to get to first base. I've looked at some of the initial polls and I can show that with you. And so I think it's actually really appropriate that the administration step up and enforce these equal time rules. Because again, if you're broadcast, you have to kind of play by these rules. And if you're cable, you don't. If you're YouTube, you don't. Okay. So thank you. Reminder, subscribe, share, like, I'll make a comment here. Again, I can see everything live, but let's just listen to the rest of James speaking here as we prepare for some poll data that shows Jasmine is probably going to be, and I think we want her to be, let's be honest, the Democrat nominee there in Texas for Senate.
I have a history of winning these kind of races. I got elected to the state house by flipping a Trump district that no one thought was winnable in a county that was so red, it hadn't voted for a Democrat for president since Jimmy Carter. Yeah. And I did that by building a big tent, by inspiring Democrats to get off the couch, bringing in young voters who were disillusioned with politics, and peeling people off from the middle and even from the right. That to me is the winning formula. That is how we win Texas, and it's how we save this American experiment in November.
Now, let me
Okay. All right. Well, he's probably not going to be the nominee. So amazing as it seems, because I just can't imagine anybody voting for her, especially in the likes of Texas, where, people tend to be a little bit smarter. She is actually pulling ahead of him. So Crockett's support, according to the University of Houston's Hobby School of Public Affairs, she's got an 8-point lead over Tallarico. So Crockett's support apparently was at 47%, while 39% said they plan to cast their vote for the little 12-year-old. Another candidate, someone named Ahmad Hassan, received 2% support, while 12% of respondents said they were still undecided. So the administration is like, why are you giving all of this time to effectively Jasmine? Like, that doesn't really seem appropriate now, does it? And this is why you're going to find a real big problem here. Again, Brendan Carr, if you're just joining us, has come out today and said that he intends to persevere here, and he's begun what they call enforcement proceedings against ABC's The View. So they can impose fines, for example, forfeitures. The stations can face monetary policies if they improperly deny equal opportunities. So this is, again, the affiliates that are going to feel the pain here. And so they're in turn going to be very angry at ABC News for putting them in this precarious legal position. This would, basically also lead to the possibility of license renewals not being given. So if you're up for your license renewal, these broadcast licenses are periodically reviewed, and he may say, you know what, we're not going to give it to the station in Denver. I'm making this up, not to pick on Denver, but we're not going to give it to Minneapolis this year because you guys are broadcasting these shows. And they may say, well, it's not our fault. And he'll say, but it is, because you see, you control the airways. We really control the airways because we're the feds, and we have jurisdiction over you, and you are choosing to put this programming on that is putting you in legal jeopardy. So certainly in extreme cases, the FCC could be looking at revoking these licenses, and it would be rare, but you know what, this administration, I wouldn't put it past them. And so at this point, when they're looking at what they can do to enforce the rules, so to speak, they have pretty broad jurisdiction. And if they choose to use this, then The View could be off the air in a lot of markets. So now you've got the ball back in the affiliates court, and they're going to ABC and they're saying, we don't want this risk. We don't want Whoopi on the air. She's not that great anyway. Nobody's watching her. The ratings are lousy. Let's take back that time. They have contracts you see in place, and the contracts are with ABC News, and ABC News says, but we produce The View and we provide this to you. And they're saying, well, we don't want it. Remember what happened with Jimmy Kimmel after Charlie Kirk's death? And he said those really heinous things. And all the affiliates were like, whoa, because they're getting calls from viewers who all kinds of complaints. And if there are that many complaints, you have to take that seriously. Again, federally controlled airwaves, not controlled in the sense, but certainly jurisdiction matters in this case. And because they have that jurisdiction, they're saying, listen, you are here to serve the public good. And part of serving the public good is making sure that you're not promoting one agenda over another, and you're not just pushing Democrat candidates on people all the time. So that's where we are. And this is why this is very serious right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see the network really start to shift back towards hopefully what they were, right? When that show first came out, it was designed to be much more level-headed and less biased. And I think over recent years, it's just deteriorated over and over and over again. And, Whoopi Goldberg knows it. Joy Behar knows it. They know what they're doing, and they've continued to flaunt this. They've continued to really push the envelope. And Brendan Carr is coming back and saying, no way, Jose, that's not flying.
Okay, we got a good one from Trish there from The View. That one lady that does updates every night. California gas prices up to $8 an hour or gallon.
Harbor Freight. Pull up a map of California from 1980, dots everywhere. Over 40 facilities turning crude oil into gasoline. Now pull up today's map, 6 dots. 6 refineries serving 40 million people. By this time next year, 4 dots. Maybe 5 if California lucky. This is what an energy crisis looks like before it becomes an emergency. When gas costs more, shipping costs more. When shipping costs more, groceries cost more. When groceries cost more, restaurants raise prices. When restaurants raise prices, workers demand higher wages. When wages go up, everything costs more. It all starts at the pump. I'm Clara Monroe. If you're just joining us, welcome aboard. Hit that subscribe button and keep watching because this is serious. So California drivers pay roughly $1.66 more per gallon than the national average. That gap breaks down into identifiable components. Component 1, taxes and fees. California's combined gas taxes total approximately 90 cents per gallon. This includes 60 cents in state excise tax, 18 cents federal tax, state sales tax, and an underground storage tank fee. This is the highest combined gas tax rate in the country. Component 2, the CARBOB requirement. California mandates a specific gasoline formulation called CARBOB, California Reformulated Blend Stock for Oxygenate Blending. This fuel burns cleaner and reduces certain emissions. The requirement creates what economists call an islanded market. Only California refineries produce CARBOB in significant quantities. When in-state supply falls short, the state cannot simply import conventional gasoline from neighboring states. Alternative supply must come from overseas or through importing blending components, both of which take weeks and cost more. Component 3, carbon pricing programs. California operates a cap-and-trade system requiring emissions-producing businesses, including refineries, to purchase carbon credits. The state also runs a low-carbon fuel standard that requires fuel producers to meet declining carbon intensity targets or purchase credits from producers who exceed the targets. Both programs add costs that refineries pass through to consumers. These 3 components, taxes, fuel specifications, and carbon pricing, account for most of the price differential between California and other states. California's refinery landscape has changed substantially over time. The state once had more than 40 refineries. Today, 6 remain operational. 2 additional closures are now occurring. Phillips 66 ceased operations at its Los Angeles area refinery at the end of 2025. That facility processed approximately 139,000 barrels per day. Valero announced it will close its Benicia refinery in April 2026. That facility processes approximately 170,000 barrels per day. Combined, these closures remove roughly 20% of California's refining capacity within a 12-month period. Why the closures? Valero's CEO, Lane Riggs, characterized California's regulatory environment as the most stringent and difficult of anywhere else in North America. The company reportedly incurred approximately $1 billion in costs preparing to exit the state. California regulators assessed Valero nearly $82 million in fines for various violations at the Benicia facility. Phillips 66 cited similar factors in its decision. From the refinery's perspective, operational costs and regulatory compliance expenses exceeded the profitability threshold for continued operation. From the state's perspective, environmental and air quality regulations serve public health goals, and refineries should bear the costs of their emissions. Both positions have supporting arguments. The observable outcome is that capacity is leaving the state. A USC analysis by Professor Michael Misch modeled the impact of refinery closures combined with existing regulatory costs. His methodology examined historical California gas prices, crude oil supply patterns, and refining capacity trends, then projected forward based on announced closures and scheduled regulatory changes.
Trying to predict the future is a hazardous occupation. The only thing we can be sure of is that it will be absolute.
Key findings.
Amen.
The closure of Phillips 66 and Valero facilities could create a daily gasoline deficit between 6.6 million and 13.1 million gallons. The gap between California's consumption and production capacity. accounting for refinery closures plus additional costs from low carbon fuel standard updates, cap and trade adjustments, and excise tax changes. The analysis projects retail gasoline prices could reach between $7.35 and $8.44 per gallon by late 2026. That represents a potential 75% increase from current prices. Caveats. Projections depend on assumptions about demand remaining constant, no new supply entering the market, and regulatory costs being fully passed to consumers. Changes in any variable would alter the outcome. Other analysts have produced different estimates. Some project lower increases if import capacity expands. Others project higher increases if additional refineries reduce operations. The range of credible projections spans roughly $6 to $10 per gallon, depending on methodology and assumptions. The projected price increases have generated responses across the political spectrum. From Democrats, Assemblyman David Alvarez stated during a legislative hearing, "We have a crisis on our hands that may be self-created." Assemblywoman Cotty Petrie Norris said, "I know what climate leadership doesn't look like, and that's $10 gas." These statements indicate some Democratic legislators view the situation as requiring policy reassessment. From Republicans, State Senator Brian Jones sent a letter to Governor Newsom arguing the state lacks time to wait for additional studies while closures proceed and prices climb. He recommended exploring investment tax credits and regulatory relief for refineries. From the governor, Governor Newsom's position has evolved. Previously, he characterized high gas prices as resulting from refinery price gouging and pushed legislation capping refinery profits and mandating minimum inventory levels. Following Valero's closure announcement, Newsom sent a letter to the California Energy Commission requesting they work closely with refiners to ensure companies continue to see the value in serving the California market. The shift reflects the tension between the state's environmental policy goals and maintaining adequate fuel supply. The current situation developed over decades through cumulative policy and market changes. 50-year trends in California. State gas excise taxes increased approximately 253%. The number of registered motor vehicles grew approximately 38%. Population increased approximately 24%. Meanwhile, the number of refineries declined from over 40 to 6, a 56% reduction. In-state crude oil production fell approximately 63%. Refining capacity decreased approximately 36%. Foreign oil imports increased approximately 712%. These trends show demand growing while in-state supply capacity contracted. The state became increasingly dependent on a smaller number of refineries and greater import volumes. The CARBOB requirement, implemented in 2003, isolated California's fuel market from other states. Cap and trade implementation in the 2010s added carbon pricing costs.
You got to hear about this thing. There's this new knife sharpener out there. It's basically an automatic razor edge restoration system for your knives.
Low carbon fuel standard requirements have increased over time, adding additional compliance costs. Each policy served specific environmental or air quality objectives. Each also added costs or constraints to fuel production and distribution. Several potential responses have been discussed. Each involves trade-offs. Option 1, relax fuel blend requirements. Allowing California to import conventional gasoline from other states would immediately expand supply options. Trade-off. This would require modifying CARBOB requirements that exist for air quality purposes. Emissions from conventional gasoline differ from CARBOB. Option 2, provide financial incentives for refineries to remain. Tax credits or regulatory relief could improve refinery economics. Trade-off. Companies may view temporary incentives skeptically given the long-term regulatory trajectory. State revenue would decline. Environmental advocates would likely oppose regulatory rollbacks. Option 3, accelerate electric vehicle adoption. Reduced gasoline demand would eventually offset supply constraints. Trade-off. California currently has approximately 1.6 million battery electric vehicles out of 30.8 million total registered vehicles, roughly 5%. EV sales growth has plateaued recently. Meaningful demand reduction would require years, while supply constraints arrive in months. Option 4, expand refining or pipeline infrastructure. New refineries or pipelines could increase supply. Trade-off, permitting timelines for major energy infrastructure in California typically span years to decades. No company has announced plans to build new California refining capacity. Option 5, expand import infrastructure and contracts. Greater import capacity could partially offset lost refinery production. Trade-off, imports require CARB-compliant fuel or blending components. Supply chains are longer and subject to international market conditions. Costs are generally higher than domestic production. Each option involves balancing environmental goals, economic costs, consumer impacts, and political considerations. None offers a quick solution without significant trade-offs. Gasoline prices affect more than just direct fuel purchases. Transportation costs factor into pricing for virtually all goods. When fuel costs increase, businesses that rely on shipping, groceries, retail, construction materials, delivery services, face higher operating expenses. Those costs typically pass through to consumers in the form of higher prices across categories. Higher commuting costs also affect household budgets directly, particularly for workers who cannot work remotely and must travel significant distances. California's net domestic migration has been negative for several years, more residents leaving than arriving from other states. Multiple factors contribute to outmigration, including housing costs, taxes, and cost of living. Transportation costs are one component of overall affordability calculations. Businesses also factor operating costs, including fuel and transportation, into location decisions. California faces a significant fuel supply constraint as refinery capacity decreases by approximately 20% within 12 months. Price projections vary, but cluster in the $6 to $10 per gallon range for late 2026, compared to current prices around $4.58. The situation results from the intersection of policy choices prioritizing environmental goals, market conditions affecting refinery profitability, and infrastructure constraints limiting alternative supply. Different stakeholders view the situation through different frameworks: environmental necessity, regulatory overreach, market failure, or policy consequence. The data supports elements of multiple interpretations. What's clear is that California's gasoline market operates differently from other states, and the gap is likely to widen in the near term. That's the breakdown.
Okay, that was important news there. Lady out of, she does each state updates, and that one was California. So we'll do a few more short ones, you guys, and about 5 tomorrow, 4, 5, and 6 tomorrow. But Q came out with another one.
What's up, family? Welcome back to Out of the Darkness. I am Q. Well, Donald Trump, in true Donald Trump fashion, he does what he does. He has got a superpower. His superpower is finding leverage when other people can't, figuring out how to get people to the table when they feel that they have the upper hand, letting them know that they need something that they did not know they need. It is the art of the deal, and he is the master of it. So just when all things seemed lost this morning, when the Supreme Court made that disastrous decision that they would not allow Trump to impose tariffs and to pull even $1 revenue from the emergency economic program, our Protection Act, that they would not allow him to impose any tariffs. It seemed for most people the Democrats were just dancing. They were excited. They were giddy. And it's frustrating because it's like, wait a minute, you guys are excited about Trump failing, but if Trump fails, we all fail. I don't want Trump to fail. Who would want Trump to fail? If we all live here. And so when people start dancing and getting excited about a failure of Trump and the possibility of us having to pay hundreds of billions of dollars back, it's ridiculous. But Trump came out defiant. He said in no way, shape, or form was he planning to give any money back to anyone, and that there were other ways that he could impose tariffs, and he was still going to use that. And Scott Bessent came out later and said the Supreme Court in that decision didn't take off the table and actually said that the president does have the power to place embargoes on countries, to completely shut off any type of trade with those countries. And so Donald Trump made it very clear, any country that wants to renege on the deal that was made, that he will maintain and he will exercise his right to place a full embargo on that country and place an embargo on goods or products that he deems necessary, or to not take anything from that country at all. Now that's power. And now people are actually listening and paying attention, because it was one thing to try to charge the American people 35% more or 25% more for your product and think, well, okay, we'll deal with that. But when Donald Trump says, I'm going to cut you off completely from the number one consumer of goods in the world of your products, that does get people's attention. It brings people to the table. I'm glad that there's a president of the United States who's actually taking charge, who's actually saying, no, we're not going to be abused by others. I'm not going to put the interest of other nations before our own nation. We're going to do what's best for America. And if anyone else happens to get lucky along the way, then good for you. But America comes first. And I think it's absolutely disgusting that we can see the Democrat Party on the other side looking and wanting to get excited because they felt that Donald Trump was going to fail. America is winning. We are winning. If America falls, where else do we go? And at the end of the day, we will pray for our country. We'll pray for our nation. We'll pray for our leaders, all of them. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys still believe in Trump? Do you feel that he's got America's best interest at heart? Is he perfect? No. But I do believe at the end of the day that he wants to see America win. I'll see you guys next.
Okay, I got three more short ones to play. Back between 4, 5, and 6 tomorrow.
To do something. I need you to make a difference. We had no idea that this was going on. Of course, Chinese medicine. Of course, EJIAO. EJIAO. Go Google that. Did you know that 5.9 million donkeys are skinned while they're still alive? To make this traditional Chinese herbal medicine and beauty product. It happens in Southern Asia and over in China. They're doing it. The conditions are so horrific. On the way to the factory where they do the stuff to the donkey, if by chance while on that vehicle that donkey doesn't make it, they just pull over and just skin him right there. I need you guys to Google what I just told you, and at the same time when you Google that, Google petition to stop this. There is a petition. It's got over 200,000 signatures. That's nothing. Y'all need to please Google this. I've got so many people in here that love animals. Please do this. My God, have you ever had a donkey? I had a donkey. They are very, they're very emotional animals, and anything being done like this makes me want to throw up. Please, guys, can you go Google it? I can't put the link here. I can put the screenshot in my comments. Look for it.
Okay, we got 3 of hers in today. 2 more.
Is panicking right now. Let me be very clear, because the talking heads won't be. What you're hearing right now is not analysis, it's panic. Panic from a political establishment that knows it's losing control. They want you to believe the Republican Party is collapsing, that MAGA is finished, that Donald Trump is some kind of toxic stain. That narrative isn't reality, it's desperation. The same people who said Trump would never win in 2016, the same people who said MAGA would disappear after 2020, the same people who said America First voters would just quietly go home. They've been wrong every single time, and they're wrong again. Here's the truth they don't want to admit. MAGA didn't hijack the Republican Party. MAGA saved it. Before Trump, Republicans were losing, apologizing, surrendering on culture, borders, trade, and national sovereignty. Trump didn't destroy conservatism. He exposed the fake version of it, the donor class version, the cocktail party version, the version that talked tough and governed weak. They love to say the party is a cult. That's lazy. What MAGA actually is a movement, millions of Americans who were ignored, mocked, and sold out by both parties for decades. You don't get to dismiss working class voters, veterans, parents, small business owners, and law enforcement as a cult just because they refuse to bow to Washington elites. And let's talk about this idea that Republicans can't win without dumping Trump. That's fantasy politics. Every time Republicans try to run away from Trump, they lose enthusiasm, turnout, and credibility. The base doesn't want consultants. They don't want scripted candidates. They want fighters. Trump didn't create that demand. He answered it. They also claim Trump is dragging the party down in elections. Convenient lie. They never mention that Republicans who lose often lose because they refuse to stand for anything. Voters don't show up for cowards. They show up for conviction. Trump brings turnout the establishment could never dream of generating on its own. As for the idea that MAGA can just be transferred to some hand-picked successor, that's not how movements work. MAGA isn't about one politician's resume. It's about America First policies, secure borders, strong law enforcement, energy independence, fair trade, and a government that answers to its citizens, not global bureaucrats. And finally, this obsession with Trump going away, they've been waiting for that moment for nearly a decade. It hasn't happened. Why? Because Trump represents accountability, and accountability terrifies the system. That's why they investigate, indict, smear, and censor. If Trump were irrelevant, they'd ignore him. They can't, because he's still the standard bearer for a movement they can't control. So no, the Republican Party isn't collapsing. The old establishment version is, and that's exactly why they're so angry. MAGA isn't fading, it's forcing a reckoning. And the people screaming the loudest are the ones who know their time is up. They said MAGA was dead, but here's why the establishment.
Okay, the latest one on cast there. The last one is a short one. DJ.
Every liberal Democrat, they take up for their people. The real hypocrisy, though, is that President Trump's name shows up in portions of it that is separate from the Ghislaine Maxwell, and they tell you this. But here's what they do. Now listen before you go reacting in the comments too much or wherever you are whenever you're listening to it. Just listen, though. You got to listen to the principle or you're just wasting your time. Here's the principle, though. One, it's a 50-50 topic. So now the 300 names that were listed, Robert De Niro, Kurt Cobain, Lisa Marie Presley, Janet Reno, Obama. Obama? just a few weeks ago, liberals all over X were posting photos of Obama. Guess who's not in there? Obama. Yeah, they are. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Ashley Biden, all in there. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Chelsea Clinton. I mean, you name them, they're there. So, by principle, if you're going by principle, then you can't sit here and attack President Trump without attacking Obama, because that's their people. Liberals think Obama on the moon, stars, moon, everything. So why aren't they saying anything about it? So by principle, they should be attacking all of them, because the principle will be about pedophilia. But then you got to have hard evidence of where was President Trump? Where was Obama? Where was Hillary? Where was Bill? Where was Ashley? Where was Joe? Where was Hunter? Where were they? What were they doing? So see, you can't just assail anything just because you want someone to be guilty. So this is where the neutrality comes in. Now, Joe Biden and Hunter and Bill and Hillary and Obama, I can show you where they're guilty in all kinds of other ways by evidence. But I can't show you that because I'm not on that case. I'm not on the Epstein case. I'm not on what's privy to what was actually shown, given, etc. And you don't have that. But here's the other thing. Here's what liberals do. Liberals will go, well, they scrubbed this name. They've had time to scrub it. Well, they've had time to scrub everybody if that's the case. And the whole principle still goes back to, okay, Epstein's first run-in with the law was 2005 to 2007. So from 2005 to 2016, nothing. From 2021 to 2025, nothing. President Trump didn't become the threat in 2025. So if President Trump is a dictator, a king, and a Nazi, and all these other things they assail of him, well, one, if he was one of them, they wouldn't be assailing of those things, because those are, that and the pedophilia, those are big things to accuse somebody of in the column. So it wouldn't look like that. And then you got to go to, okay, well, he didn't become the threat in 2025. So if he's truly a Nazi and a king and a dictator, and he's truly destroying everything that you all, they all, them, claim that they've built all these years, and if he's destroying quote-unquote democracy, then why didn't they prevent number 47? Because if they had evidence, which pedophilia, you would have to admit, if there were evidence on anybody of this level of pedophilia, you would have to denounce them, and also what the Bible says, the millstone around the neck. You would have to. So if you had hardcore evidence on the man who's destroying everything you claim you built, everything that America, you claim America is, which it isn't, but they claim it, if everything that they assail on President Trump was true, then why didn't they prevent number 47? You wouldn't let him get back in to do all these other laws and executive orders, national emergencies, proclamations, treaties. This is how simple this is. Three Obama and Clinton appointed judges in July and August, when quote unquote Hunter, July and August, was confirming that book with all of their links to everything, trafficking, money laundering, murder. In July and August of 2025, 3 Obama and Clinton appointed judges blocked all of the 2005 to 2007 grand jury material of Epstein. But not a single Clinton, Obama, or even Bush appointed judge blocked one tariff from 2021 to 2025. This proves to you, ladies and gentlemen, that President Trump is not a part of this. Because, again, listen to what I just said. 3 Obama and Clinton appointed judges blocked the release of the grand jury material of the very first evidence, the hardcore evidence on Epstein from 2005 to 2007. They blocked that in July and August of 2025. But not one single Obama, Clinton, or even Bush appointed judge blocked one single tariff from 2021 to 2025. Those tariffs that were put into place in 2018, that they call President Trump a dictator, a Nazi, and a king, and say that it's adding to your pocketbook and it's destroying the economy. This stuff is that easy. This is so funny. It's so simple, it's stupid. It's so stupid, it's simple. President Trump.
Okay, that was a good one to end the show with. That was his short one he played. Okay, everybody. Man, this whole week went by fast. So everybody have a good weekend. If I don't see you, do probably one show on the weekend. I'll go evening time, about 4, 5, or 6, somewhere around there. Unless something breaks through, any breaking news. Okay, I hope you're getting better over the weekend and see you back up, normal. JJ, hope your brother is doing good. We'll see you tomorrow night. And welcome to Jay. Love you. Thanks, Amaj, Carol, Tim, Lucy, Lion Eagle, and KK. Best everybody. Love all. Brother, please hit the like and make sure you sub to the backup channels in the description box, please. Stay safe, stay strong, keep the faith, and never give up. Signing off. Chico, do another day mental, and see you guys tomorrow evening, and have a good weekend.